That's Joe Biden there.
Before Joe Biden launched his campaign for US president and became the 2020 Democratic presidential nominee. Before Joe Biden would be impersonated by Jim Carrey on Saturday Night Live and memes would go viral.
Let me at him. Let me at him.
Before Joe Biden would be presented with the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama back in 2017.
What an incredible journey it's been.
Now, this isn't Joe Biden's first time up to bat. His 2018 presidential campaign, well, it never really gained much momentum. But Democratic nominee Barack Obama selected him as his running mate, and Biden, well, he went on to serve a term as the 47th president of the United States. Now, previous to all this, well, Joe Biden, he was actually a bit of a football stud, and we found a ton of old clips.
Bum-ba-rum, bum-ba-rum, bum-ba-rum.
But his life story is also one filled with loss and grief, having lost his first wife and a child in a car crash early on in his career. Now, he almost lost his own life and he needed complicated brain surgery. Now, it's a remarkable story that actually reminds me of the myth, the man, the legend. I'm talking about Forrest Gump. I kid you not, I'll explain that in just a minute. But if he does become president, well, this will be over 20 years in the making, with him having made a run for the biggest job in the land back in 1998. But that time, again, things they just didn't go as planned.
In fact, as Biden finally conceded, he finished near the bottom of his class.
Yeah, we got lots to get through. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Michael McCrudden back at it again with another Before They're Famous video, this time on presidential candidate Joe Biden. Now, we have taken a look at Trump's life story in the past, but we could give you guys an update. Let me know if that's something you want to see in the comments down below. Also, at the time of this recording, well, the results of the election, they're not in just yet, so I hope you're happy with who won. Let me know if you are by hitting that like button right now. All right, now let's get into this video. And if they're not happy, they're going to hit the dislike button and this video is going to bomb. Don't do that! Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom! Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. was born on November 20th, 1942, and he grew up in the blue-collar city of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Now, if that place sounds familiar, well, it's because it is.
They call it Scranton. What? The Electric City. Scranton. What? The Electric City.
Now, his father, Joseph Biden Sr., well, he was initially wealthy, but he had suffered several financial setbacks around the time of Joe Biden's birth. He also worked cleaning furnaces before finding himself out of a job. His mother's name was Catherine Eugenia Jean Finnegan, and the family is of Irish, English, and French descent, with Joe being the eldest of 4 siblings with a sister and 2 brothers. Now, Joe Sr., he recalled his father frequently saying, "Champ, the measure of a man is not how often he is knocked down, but how quickly he gets up." One of many messages that would stay with his son.
My father taught us that silence was complicity. And I can never remain silent or complicit.
Now, Joe has also stated that when he would come home sobbing because he'd been bullied by a bigger kid in the neighborhood, well, his mother would tell him, "Bloody their nose so you can walk down the street the next day." Now, if you're a big fan of Joe Biden, well, you might be asking yourself, who on earth could bully this guy? Well, there was one obvious problem for him as a boy.
As a child, I stuttered. And she lovingly would look at me and tell me, "Joey, it's because you're so bright you can't get the thoughts out quickly enough."
Yeah, the Forrest Gump parallels, they are out of control in this story. Now, due to his stutter, well, the kids, they called him Joe Impedimenta. That was just like simply to mock him, and name calling in the 50s, well, it was certainly something totally different. You know what I mean?
Hey, dummy! Are you retarded or just plain stupid?
Now, he eventually overcame his speech impediment by memorizing long passages of poetry and reciting them out loud in front of the mirror. Joe attended St. Paul's Elementary School in Scranton. Then in 1955, at the age of 13 years old, well, his family, they moved to Mayfield, Delaware, which was a rapidly growing middle-class community with plenty of work due to the DuPont Chemical Company. Now, after some years in Delaware where his father, he became a successful used car salesman, and he was able to support his family's middle-class lifestyle. Now, Biden, he attended the St. Helens School until he gained acceptance to the prestigious Archmere Academy. Now, to pay for tuition, he had to work washing the school windows and weeding the gardens, but he was thrilled to be there. Now, there he was considered a solid student, and despite his thin frame, well, he actually became a standout receiver on the football team. Believe it or not, we actually found some old video footage of him back in his football days. Let's roll a clip. Okay, sorry, that was the wrong clip. Well, you know what I'm doing here. All right, let's roll it.
Biden deep. He's got it. The go. Oh, no.
way, touchdown, Archmere.
Now, Biden graduated from Archmere in 1961, and he went on to the nearby University of Delaware. There he studied history and political science while continuing to play football. Now, he'd later admit that he spent his first 2 years of college far more interested in football, girls, and partying than he really did academics. But he did develop a sharp interest in politics during these years, spurred in part by the inspirational inauguration of John F. Kennedy, which happened in 1961.
Ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
On a spring break trip to the Bahamas during his junior year, while Biden, he met a Syracuse University student named Neil Hunter, and he fell in love at first sight. Encouraged by his new love, he applied himself more fully to his studies, and he was accepted into the Syracuse University Law School upon his graduation from Delaware, which happened in 1965. Now, Joe and Neela, they married the following year. At Syracuse, Joey was said to be a mediocre law student, and in his first year, he flunked a class for failing to properly cite a reference of a law review article. Now, this was an incident that would haunt him later on in his career.
I made some mistakes, but now the exaggerated shadow of those mistakes has begun to obscure the essence of my candidacy and the essence of Joe Biden.
Now, after graduating from law school in 1968, Biden, he moved to Wilmington, Delaware to begin practicing at a law firm. Now, he also became an active member of the Democratic Party. In 1970, he was elected to the Newcastle County Council while serving as a councilman in 1971. It was during these years that Biden, he started his own law firm. Now, during these years, he also fathered his first 3 children, Joseph Biden III, born in 1969, Hunter Biden, born in 1970, and Naomi Biden, born in 1971. Then in 72, Biden, he won an upset victory to become the 5th youngest U.S. senator elected in the nation's history for the Delaware Democratic Party. Just as all of Biden's wildest dreams seemed to be coming true, then he was struck by devastating tragedy. Now, a week before Christmas in 1972, Biden's wife and 3 children, they were involved in a terrible car accident while out shopping for a Christmas tree. The accident killed his wife and daughter and severely injured both of his sons. I'm talking Beau and Hunter. Now, Biden, he was inconsolable and he even considered suicide himself. Now, despite this unimaginable grief, he continued to represent the people of Delaware in the Senate, commuting each day to Washington via train and to be at his son's hospital bedside each and every night. His career in the Senate, it would go on from 1973 to 2009. Now, he would remarry to Jill Jacobs in 1977, and together the two would have 2 daughters. Now, during his years in the Senate, he won respect as one of the body's leading foreign policy experts, and he even called out George W. Bush.
President Bush should consider following the practice of a majority of his predecessors and not name a nominee until after the November election is completed.
In 1987, having established himself as one of Washington's most prominent Democratic lawmakers, Biden decided to run for the U.S. presidency. Now, he dropped out of the Democratic primary. However, after reports surfaced that he had plagiarized part of his speech and his grades, they were brought into the spotlight. God damn it. The past really just never leaves anyone alone, for real.
In fact, as Biden finally conceded, he finished near the bottom of his class.
More bad news is about to come his way. He had been suffering severe headaches during his campaign, and shortly after he dropped out when doctors discovered that he had 2 life-threatening brain aneurysms. Now, brain surgery led to blood clots in his lungs, which in turn caused him to undergo another surgery. Now, after a 7-month recovery period, he returned to the Senate. Then in 2007, 20 years after his first unsuccessful presidential bid, Biden, he once again decided to run for the U.S. presidency. Now, unfortunately for him, Biden's campaign, it failed to generate much momentum up against Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. But then later, Barack, he nominated him after a hard-fought campaign against the Clintons, and he selected Biden as his running mate. With his working-class roots, Biden helped the Obama campaign communicate its message of economic recovery to the blue-collar voters crucial to the swing states like Ohio and Pennsylvania. And on November 2nd of 2008, Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they defeated the Republicans Josh McCain and Sarah Palin, and on January 20, 2009, Obama was sworn in as the 44th U.S. president, and Biden, he became the 47th vice president of the United States of America. Crazy, we've had more vice presidents than presidents, but I guess it's a little bit more of a low-profile job. You can swap them out. As for the rest of the story, I guess we're gonna wrap this one up here because this is before they were president. I mean, before they were famous. At the time of this recording, it could go either way. So I'm excited to see what happens. Let me know who you voted for in the comments down below, if that's something you want to share. My name is Michael McCrudden. Now the other Michael McCrudden, he's gonna wrap up this video, because I'm going horse. Hooah! Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Now we drop a new video each and every day, so here's a recent drop that you might enjoy. We handpicked that one for you because if you like this video, you'll probably like that. We also got playlists like over here, so click on that if you want to see a whole list of a bunch of videos we've dropped in the past. And if you're new to the Fame Gang, be sure to subscribe and turn on them post notifications, and I'll see you guys in another video. Boom!